Do we seek regard from others, or do we give regard to ourselves? That's the important question. Now you see, in history there is the story of Alexander and Porus, and in that story Alexander makes Porus his slave, and when he's made the slave and he's chained and he's brought before Alexander, then Porus is asked, how do you want to be treated? And then Porus says, I would like you to treat me like a king treats a king. And that's a very big lesson in history that we learn, that Porus was chained, he was in shackles, and Alexander saw him as a slave, but he did not see himself as a slave. He saw himself as a king, and he spoke like a king, and that's why he was treated like a king. So it's very important, and you see that when we in this Ravan Rajya, when we take birth and rebirth, then our sense of self is always shaped by how other people look at us. That's how it works in this world. And ever since, when we are from this birth, at least whatever we can remember, so however people looked at us and whatever they said about us is something we took in, and we started living by that, and we created our sense of self and our identity based on that. But now Baba is telling us who we really are. And Baba says that now you don't need to know who you are from people around you. So Baba says that even if they don't recognize that you are you and you're Baba's child, and they do not recognize the value in virtues, they do not give importance to your practice or whatever, then still you should know what you're doing, and you should know who you are, and do not forget that by coming into influence of the other. So this is a very important learning that we need to have. And there was one incident some days back where somebody was just calling names and saying your organization is this and that, and they chose very selective names and they called out like that. And then so it was a conversation over phone happening between two people, and I was just there and the person was on speaker, and I was listening to that. And when the person who was attending, he was very calm, and he said, okay, that's what you think, but what do you want? You've called here, so what do you want from us? So that's your opinion, it's okay, whatever you think, but why have you called? And then he shared his pain and how he thinks that somebody who is a BK is not cooperating with them or whatever. So then he said, you see that you say that we are the problem, but when you find the solution, you're calling here. So he said, no, no, but I'm saying you are the problem, you created the problem, so you have to give me the solution. So then this fellow said, okay, if that is so, then how many people in the world do you think who are responsible for your problems are open enough that you can go and tell them that you are the problem, give me the solution? So even if you think that somebody is the problem or somebody has created the problem, think about how big hearted we are that we are creating that space for you to at least, convey that to us. And I'm still talking to you after you calling me out with such bad names. But I'm still talking to you and I'm listening to your problem and I'm trying to give you a solution. So that person then, they calmed down and then they said, yeah, I understand. I'm not a fool. I understand you're listening to me. I understand that you have been really patient with me. I appreciate your patience. And then, they started talking in a different tone. So the thing is, one thing that you should never forget is nobody knows you and nobody talks to you. They talk to their image of you. Yes, they talk to their image of you. And what kind of image would one carry? An image that is in consonance with their camera. So, everybody's camera is different, everybody's filter is different. So, whatever filter they are using, their image of you will be according to that. And their image of you is not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of them. So, Baba says that when somebody doesn't give you regard, that's a sign of that soul having low self-respect. So, Baba has given us this law that when you are in self-respect, you give respect because you always give what you have. And if you don't have self-respect, you end up demeaning the other because that's how you function when you don't have self-respect. So you can't give what you yourself don't have. So Baba says that you must never get caught up in somebody's act of disrespect. So even if nobody gives you regard, don't ask for regard, but give yourself the regard. And how do we give ourselves the regard? So Baba says that I have given you your full introduction of who you really are. And when you live by that, then you give regard to yourself. So when you think as you are, speak as you are, behave as you are, that is giving regard to yourself. And this is something very important to understand. And I think it was yesterday's Murli and blessing. And Baba pointed out 3 things. Baba said, Yad, Seva, and Smriti. So, if I want to be seated in the seat of self-respect, then there are 3 things which are very important. One is, I remember who I am. So, your awareness or your consciousness is very important. So, even if you do the right thing, but you forget or you're not in conscious awareness of who you are, then even the whole fruit of doing the right thing will not come to you. So it is very important to have the right awareness. Yes, so let's say I'm doing seva all day, right? But my consciousness is I'm a Nokrani, I'm a maid servant. My consciousness is not that I'm a sevadhari. Yes, so there are some, so even if I'm doing seva all day, I'm cooking, cleaning, taking classes, doing everything. But I'm just thinking that, people are exploiting me and I have to do everything and they're just sitting and I'm made to do everything. So then my consciousness is not elevated. My consciousness is that of a servant. My consciousness is, and servant actually means a sevadhari. But I am living in that consciousness that I am exploited, and I do not have self honor in whatever I am doing. So it is very important to be seated on the seat of self respect. So remembering who you are, being seated on the seat of self respect is very important. Then second thing is, while doing everything, being in remembrance of Baba. Because you see that if you are seated on the seat of self-respect and you're doing everything, but you are not in remembrance of Baba, and you are in remembrance of the work you are doing, you are in body consciousness or work consciousness or relationship consciousness or outcome consciousness, then what will happen is it will start affecting your state of mind as the work progresses. So let's say that I am cooking, I am making bhojan, but I am not in the awareness that I am making Brahma bhojan for Baba, or I am a world sevadhari, and when I am cooking, so the stomach of the whole world is being fed. So that consciousness is not there. Now let's suppose that consciousness is there, but I am not in remembrance of Baba, and my yoga is with the Brahma Bhojan that I am cooking. Then in that state, anything goes wrong with the Brahma Bhojan, something is not cooked properly or something has less or more of something, it's there. So it has already been put. Then I will start getting very affected by whatever happened. And then my state of mind will not be that right. And then the third thing is seva. So let's say I am in very elevated consciousness all day, but I don't do anything. Yes, I'm just wasting my time and thought and energy. So that's also not the method to be in Swaman, because your acts are very important when it comes to building Swaman. So let's say you say I'm a very worthy soul, or you repeat inside yourself that I'm Vishwa Kalyankari, but all day you're just sitting on the couch and doing nothing. So then your heart will know, and it will tell you what kind of a Vishwa Sevadhari are you. You don't do any seva. So that is why excuse me, to build Swaman, you need all these three things: the right state of consciousness, and then doing everything in remembrance of Baba, and the third and most important thing is doing. So if you're not doing anything, no seva, then whatever you are is not being put into action. So Baba says that when you live by who you are, so if I say I am a noble soul, I am a worthy soul, then all my thoughts, words and acts should be worthy. And if I say I am a noble and worthy soul, then that means my father is Shiv Baba, and I must do everything in remembrance of Baba. So this is the way to create self-respect. Why am I clarifying so much about self-respect? Because sometimes when we come to Gyan, we erroneously have an idea that if I kept repeating to myself that I'm a pure soul, I'm a powerful soul, then I will become pure and powerful. But we must understand that just telling yourself is not enough. It is a necessary condition, but not a sufficient condition. You understand the difference between necessary condition and sufficient condition? So it is very necessary to know who you are, but it is not sufficient to know who you are. So while knowing who you are, you also have to behave according to what you know about yourself. And if you tell yourself that I'm a pure soul and I'm a worthy soul, but your thought, word, and act is not that of purity or self-worth, then you will not be able to see it in self-respect. And then you will inadvertently, you will beg for respect. You will inadvertently beg for respect. And in my own experience, I know that physical acts are a very small part of our everyday karma. So, let's say, even if I take 5 or 6 or 7 classes in a day, let's say 7 hours, I did physical seva. But 24 hours minus 7 hours is what? 17 hours. Yes, no, not 7, 17 hours. Now, in those 17 hours, what did I do? I'm creating thoughts, feelings, vibrations. So, even if in your physical acts, you are in your self-respect and you're behaving properly, what really matters is what you are also doing apart from that. And what I have observed is even one thought which is without Swaman can just spoil your whole day. When you don't remember who you are and you step down from your dignity and you take one thought, maybe of complaint, just one thought of complaint. Why is this one doing like this? Or why are they not respecting me? Just one thought you take and it makes you a beggar, and your whole vibration will change to that of a beggar. So it is very, very important to know who you are and think as you are, speak as you are, and behave as you are. Yes, sometimes you say, I'm full of self-respect, and then you utter one statement out of ego, and that statement that has a ripple effect and it ruffles many egos, and then all the energy that's coming back at you, that will not allow you to live in peace or self-respect for the whole day. So this is very important to understand, because you see, the philosophy of karma is very deep. And Baba says that seating on your seat of self-respect, giving regard to yourself, is all about knowing who you are and behaving every second in your thoughts, feelings, vibrations, words, acts, just doing everything according to what you know about you, not according to how other people are looking at you. So even if somebody is telling you that you are good for nothing, then you have to know you're good for everything and not stop doing it. So you know that Baba wants you to do something, and don't stop doing it. Don't forget what Baba wants from you because somebody is telling you that you're good for nothing. So this is something that we need to revise every now and then. And I think this is a very important lesson to imbibe in day to day life. And then Baba today says that you must give spiritual love to everyone. And Baba says that you must sustain everyone with the jewels of knowledge. And everyone else in the world is just exchanging vices with one another. So there is vikaron ki len den. So people are giving vices, taking vices, so all their connections are vicious. And in your connections, you must ensure that you sustain everyone with jewels of knowledge, and you sustain them with spiritual love. Now, this is something very new, because we have always sustained people with vices. So how do you sustain somebody in the world? So when your child wants a gift, yes, so when your child wants something, what do? You get it for them, right? So when you get it for them, then what did you do? You fed their greed. Yes, and you made them understand that, you reinforce their greed. Now, what do you do then? Don't not give it to them. So, what is the opposite of that? Instead of giving it to them, what do? Do you not give it to them? So, first thing is, you have to make your child come to a place of awareness where they understand that that thing doesn't matter. Yes, and then you give it to them. Yes, so you see that Baba tells us that everything that you have, every resource that you have, every facility that you have, sadhan, is a good thing, but only when it is a servant, not when it starts becoming your master. Yes, so let's say I have a phone. Good that I have a phone and I can do seva through it. But not that my mood starts shifting with the state of the phone. So the phone is broken, my heart is broken. That shouldn't be the stage. Now what happens is, when your child wants something and you get it for them, immediately you are reinforcing that thing, that and sometimes and every time, when we are little, our parents get something for us and they say, happy now? So we understand that happiness is associated with getting something. But Baba says, sustain with knowledge. So first make them understand that how you're feeling is about your thought, not about that thing. I will get it for you, don't worry. But the thing is, don't feel desperate because you have it. Don't feel anything because you don't have it. So it's, you have to understand that you have to bring that child to a position where they understand that happiness and attainments are unrelated. Physical attainments and happiness have no correlation. And then, of course, physical attainments are important because they are a resource to do work which you can't do without them. So Baba says that sustain with jewels of knowledge. And what is the most important thing to understand in knowledge? That we are not slaves of the body, not slaves of matter, not slaves of what we have, what we do, not slaves of our emotions. We are not slaves of anybody else's emotions. It's not like if somebody is angry, I cannot sleep. If somebody is angry because I did something, it's my karma that's not making me sleep. And if somebody is angry because of their own sanskar, then I can sleep peacefully. So Baba says that you must sustain everyone with knowledge. And it in my personal journey, I have felt that when uh, when girls are very little, so I saw it around me that girls are always taught that if you don't get married, or if nobody likes you, or nobody wants you, then that's a failure on your part. Yes, but or nobody wants to get married to you, that's a failure on your part. And in my own upbringing, I was always told that marriage or not marriage is not what is the goal of life. So even while growing up, I was never told that this is important or this is relevant to who you are. And this is why, when I found Baba, I understood that finding God is more important than anything or anyone else. And Baba says that similarly, you must sustain everyone to value the right things and not unnecessary value that which anyways doesn't matter. So when we sustain children or sustain people around us who are worthy of sustenance, you must knowledgefully sustain them. So, and knowledgeful sustenance means they become free from body consciousness, free from relationship consciousness, yes, and they become pure and they value good karma and they value their relationship with God. And you have to teach everybody to let go and let God. So Baba says that that's how you sustain everybody around us. And don't make a big issue of things that don't matter. So let's say something happened to, some incident occurred. Now I'll give you one practical example. So there was this parents who had come and they told that my child is being bullied in school. And I said, what is the form of bullying? So they said he's a little overweight. So children call him, fatso and fatty and this and that. So then I said, then what happened? So then they said that we got him, removed from that school. And it's the mid of the session, so he's just staying at home. And I said, then what is he doing at home? So they said, no, he's just going into anxiety and he's going into some dark space because he keeps reminding himself of all those memories which happened in school. So I said, you see that when children, it's a world of children. So children are calling them names and children do these things all the time. So what you should have done is, you should have told him that, you're not fat, you're good. Look at yourself, you're nice, you're fine, we love you and everything is good. Why? And when you don't teach them how to assert themselves in the face of, unfavorable circumstances, and in fact you encouraged the child to play a victim, and you kind of reinforce their victim consciousness there, that I'm a victim in that place. So I said, you should have, on your own, you should have taken it up with the authorities, like you should have gone to the principal or talked to the teachers, but you should not have involved the child in that. And when the child says it's a big thing, you tell them, no, it's a very small thing. And are you prepared? Why are you sending the child to the school? To prepare them for the world, right? And the world is going to be like this. How many times will you remove them from this place and that place and the other place? So you teach them how to assert their true identity in the face of different kinds of voices around them. So then they said, what should we do now? So I said, you've already removed him from that school, so get him admitted in another school, but don't repeat this mistake. But this is what we need to learn, that we must sustain everyone with knowledge, teach everyone how to build self-respect, rather than telling them that if other people are not giving you respect, then that's a wrong thing, or you should be treated like this. Do you understand? There is no should and would. So if you're still fixed with these two words, that it should be like this, or it would have been better, would it have been like this? So if you're still thinking in these terms, then you have not understood the knowledge of drama, that it is what it is. And all the knowledge is about accepting whatever is and conducting yourself with dignity in the face of what is. And Baba says, sustain everyone around you with that knowledge. Don't feed their victim consciousness. Don't feed these other things. So there was this one girl, and she came to me and she was telling me that she has a bad marriage and her husband does drugs, and he's sometimes violent also, and then she feels unsafe in that atmosphere because he has criminal friends, and then she is always feeling like somebody would come in at any time of the day, or she feels very unsafe in her own house. And then she told me, what should I do? So I said, see, this is one scenario, and then you can come out of it, you can stay in it, but when you come out, what is the other scenario? So again you will be living on your own. Yes, again you will be locking your door. Again you will feel insecure that same way. It's not like you will have, even if you have a guard outside, you have to trust the guard also. He can also let 3 people in. So again, when you're on your own, you have to deal with that same insecurity. So I said, see, whether you live with your husband or not live with your husband, that's a personal choice. But what you have to understand is, if you feel naive and vulnerable, you have to do something about it. And you have to educate yourself, and you have to take up this spiritual course and understand yourself and build that strength. And then you don't leave your husband because of your husband. You leave your husband because you don't like to stay. It's your choice, It's not because of what he is doing, but it's just because you have a better choice. So don't leave something because it is bad. Leave something because you have a better choice. But what if you leave something and you don't have any choice at all? Yes, so are you getting my point? That when you leave someone or something, leave because you have a better choice. Not because you don't like this. Okay, you don't like this, but you have the same sanskar. You will go somewhere else, you will not like that also. So just because you don't like something, if you run away from it, then again you will attract the same circumstance in a different form. But when you make yourself better, when you understand knowledge, you develop spiritual power, then you know that you have many other choices. You can do so much with your time and life. And then you make that choice and you don't hate what you left behind. You have compassion for what you left behind. So that sister said, okay, so what is the first step? So I just start coming to class. And she said, should I leave that person and come to us? I said, that's completely your choice. But when you leave somebody, you think that this is bad and that is bad, but you are attracting that bad because of your own vibration. And even if you left that one place, you are the same person and you will attract that same reality in a different form, in a different place. So it's very important to sustain everyone with jewels of knowledge. Jewels of knowledge which make you aware. So creating awareness and building relationship with Baba and letting everybody know that you have to let go and let God both. So letting go is important and embracing the Almighty is equally important. It's not just letting go of what is bad, but also give them the introduction of Baba and make them close to Baba, because when they are in connection with the powerhouse, they will always make good choices. So Baba says that's how you sustain, and then you have love. Then you do all of this with love, because again, love is the one that will make you connect with the soul. So Baba says do sustain with knowledge and with love, and not with the kind of sustenance that people make in the world, feeding people's ego, feeding people's greed, feeding people's emotional vacuum, feeding people's desire for lust. That's not how you sustain anybody. And then there is another kind of sustenance that people are trying to give these days, which is you think that you can fix somebody's personality by being a doormat for them. So that's not how you sustain people around you. So if somebody is angry, just be a doormat, keep accepting their anger, and then their anger will finish. No, it will just grow. And you will become a depressed person some years later. So that's not how you sustain anybody, by thinking that you can fix somebody by being a doormat for them. It doesn't work like that. So sustain everybody knowledgefully and with love. Okay, Om Shanti.